Amusement parks sound fun, right? But what if I told you that these parks have seen such scary deaths and accidents that your fairy tale La La Land would be burnt to ashes? Would you believe that within seconds, 4 people lost their lives due to a water pump malfunction? Yes, this was the case of an Australian ride called Dreamland, which had its case running in the courtroom even 5 years after the accident. And today on Park Disasters, we will discuss all the enigma surrounding it. So stay tuned and focused. Things are going to get serious and scary. On October 25, 2016, a malfunctioning water pump at Dreamworld, an Australian theme park, caused a fatal accident in which 4 people tragically lost their lives. The victims of this disaster included Kate Goodchild, who boarded the ride with her 12-year-old daughter, her brother Luke Dorset, and his partner Ruzbe Aragi. Kate's daughter was the only one from the group to survive. But do you know what was the most terrifying and disheartening part? The accident, which was caused by the malfunctioning water pump, was subsequently discovered to have been avoidable. This means the lives of these people could be saved, but what was the real mystery behind it? Let's dive deeper. Dreamworld opened its doors in 1981 with a limited selection of attractions, including an IMAX theater. Over the years, the park has expanded to include several roller coasters. For instance, the DreamWorks Experience Zone has several attractions that are related to popular DreamWorks movies, such as Kung Fu Panda and Madagascar. One of the major attractions situated in the DreamWorks Zone when it opened in 1986 was the Thunder River Rapids ride. This ride may be familiar to many theme park fanatics, as it shares many similarities with similar rides from around the world. Before we get to know what happened with the rides and the accident, let us understand how these rides actually work. At Dreamworld, the River Rapids ride was custom-built by the park itself, as opposed to many rides of the same type in other parks. In most of the other parks, the ride was designed and constructed by Intamin, an established and reliable ride design and manufacturing firm. The 6-person circular rafts were launched from a constantly revolving station platform, allowing for easy boarding without the need for boats to come to a full stop. After being launched, each raft traveled at moderate speed along a watercourse with a tunnel and multiple sections of simulated water rapids. The Dreamworld rides were full of physics and physical laws. But before we discuss more of this mechanical stuff, make sure you subscribe to Park Disaster and become a constant member of our adventurous world. The ride began on a gradual downhill slope. This is what causes the water inside the canal to flow, bringing the boats with it without the need for an onboard motor. In Dreamworld, this was done using a conveyor system. Boats would be lifted onto the conveyor and carried up with guests on board. This had to be the most thrilling part. Once they reached the top and were ready to be sent back down to the station, they would be pushed forward and returned to the station platform. The makers of Dreamworld had thought of everything thoroughly. But still, somehow things went south for the 4 victims. At the end of the circuit, the rafts are required to be raised back up, which is typically accomplished by 2 strong water pumps. However, on October 25, 2016, one of the pumps failed, resulting in a significant drop in the water level of the ride. This marked the beginning of one of the most horrific incidents to be witnessed by the water ride visitors. One of the rafts, which had recently reached the uppermost point of the conveyors, was left stranded on the support rails. As there was insufficient water in the canal to carry the raft forward, it was left stranded just before the ride station entrance. However, the conveyors continued to operate, lifting up another raft. this one containing 6 guests. This raft collided with Raft 1, causing both of them to pivot upwards, resulting in Raft 1 falling back to a horizontal position and Raft 2 being forced to a vertical position as the result of the conveyor's continued movement. 4 occupants of Raft 2 were thrown out onto the conveyors. But that wasn't the worst of it. Something even worse was about to happen. To everyone's surprise, the conveyor belt, which had been running for a while, was still going. Either the victims were pulled under the struck raft and crushed, or they fell through the cracks in the belt and got stuck in the machinery underneath. All 4 were killed. Was it fate or luck 2 people survived in Raft 2, and both of them were kids? The ride was shut down and the park was placed on lockdown while a recovery operation was conducted. Even after all the water was drained from the ride, it took until the following morning for the bodies to be recovered. The process of retrieving the bodies was so emotionally distressing that some of the emergency medical personnel involved sought counseling once it was completed. The park was closed for a month in both respect for the deceased and to allow for an investigation to be conducted. The outcome of this investigation took several years to unfold. Basically, safety features weren't included, even though they could have been relatively cheaply, and the responsibility of figuring out any risks was left up to the ride staff, none of whom were even trained engineers. Safety improvements were put on hold because of budget issues. Record-keeping was said to be sloppy, and the ride was called totally unsafe. Dreamworld cooperated fully with the inquiry, and when the charges were finally brought forward under the WHA in 2020, they didn't hesitate to plead guilty. The theme park's parent company, Ardent Leisure, was fined a whopping $3.6 million. All 4 of the perished were on vacation. They had gone to Dreamworld to enjoy its rides and go on its roller coasters. They believed that the rides at Dreamworld were safe. They had reason to be confident. There are many regulatory standards in place to ensure the safety of amusement park rides. However, the tragedy at Dreamworld demonstrates that these standards only work if ride owners and ride operators actually apply them. What views do you have about the safety percentage of these rides? Are these as safe as their parent parks claim them to be? Share your views in the comments section below. Make sure you like the video and share it with your adventure enthusiast friends. While you're at it, subscribe to Park Disaster and click the notification bell icon. We'll be glad to have you notified with every update for upcoming videos. Until next time.